Nyati, founding partner for Setbooks. We actually want to change it to Setbooks Business Solutions, which houses 4 businesses in one. It's Setbooks Accounting Solutions, Setbooks Company Secretaries, Setbooks Tax Professionals, and Setbooks Training Academy. Our aim in the business space is to serve the SMEs, small to medium enterprises, and we want to serve them in the accounting and bookkeeping space. We want to serve them in taxation, compliance, and so forth. If anything, if you want to learn a lot more about us, look at the bio on this video, and it will direct you to our different platforms, our website, our YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and so forth. So I am personally an entrepreneur myself, and sometimes I want to come and share knowledge with other entrepreneurs, other business owners, and today's discussion is just some useful accounting tips for the small business owner. Just some tips for the SME, tips for the guy who's starting out and who's got a vision, but they've never run a business before. So there are different things that we're going to talk about, and the first being the obvious. If you create a business, the business is a person on its own. It's got its own. It's different from you, the business owner. In fact, in terms of law, when you create a business, that business takes a life of its own. And one of the most important things that we try and tell the business owners is separate the business expenses from your personal expenses. It's just basic, right? Run your own personal account and run the business account separately. It's very difficult in the beginning because you are the business and the business is you, and oftentimes it's very difficult to actually set those two apart, but it can be done. And once you've started, once you've opened, created an entity with CIPC, you are registered for tax. That entity is very, very separate from you, and you want to keep it that way in order for everything to make sense to you. So that's the first thing. The next thing is you need to track every business expense. These days with technology, we can actually track those things through our phones. If you're buying something for the business, just take a picture of what you're buying, the systems that exist these days, the accounting systems that exist these days. Allow that information to be loaded straight up into a cloud, into an accounting system. We are partners with Zero. We use Zero a lot, and what we are teaching the entrepreneurs that we are working for is that we need to track these expenses, and we train them to be utilizing their phone every time they make a business purchase. And once you take a picture and load it onto the cloud, that's it. The accountants will then know what to do with that information, and it's already stored for you. So that's just good business practice. You need to be able to follow the deposits that are coming through your business. What is this money coming for? Have you generated an invoice that is being paid by an amount that's coming into your account? Do we have that kind of paper trail that we obviously must have as a business? And then yeah, do not be afraid to hire professionals in this space. Whether we are talking professionals in terms of company secretaries, whether we're talking accountants, where Setbooks Accounting Solutions comes in, whether we are talking lawyers. If your business requires the services of a lawyer, please do not hesitate to engage a lawyer. And do not be afraid to pay them. They are bringing a service to you. They are bringing some expertise in your space, and we need to be able to capture this expertise as much as possible. So do not hesitate to bring in the right people with the right skills, even if you're doing it on a temporary basis, even if you're doing it just for the short term. Over time, you'll actually realize that these people have got something to bring to your table, and they assist you. You should not see these professionals as a cost, because yes, they are a cost, but there's an upside to what they bring on the table. So we need to be able to follow that through. And the next thing is, as business owners, you need to dedicate time to your business, especially to the books, to understand what is going on. You can't walk blind. That's just a recipe for disaster. And you need to be able to dedicate time for your books, time for your accountant, time to understand the financial matters of your business. Are you making a profit? Are you making a loss? Is it worth your while? Should you really be doing that? Or there are other options that you can pursue. So it's very important that you dedicate some time. If at all everything fails, try to dedicate a spot in a month, right? But those who can do it better, they dedicate that spot on a weekly basis. Understand what's going on, understand your budgets, understand your cash flows, understand your forecasts, understand your income, understand your expenses. It's very important, and at the end of the day, that's really what you are in it for. Yes, there's a passion of what you do. So if you're a doctor, I'm sure you're passionate about what you do. But at the end of the day, you want to understand the number story. That's why you then rope in accountants who can assist you to go through these things. Understand your labor costs. Understand where the labor comes in. Understand what are the implications of employing people. What taxes do you need to register for? How do you bring these people into your space? And how do you keep a tab? When should you pay what? And things like that. It's very important. You should also be aware that there are things that come into the fore that sometimes you haven't seen, and all of a sudden you just wake up and SARS is saying you owe 30,000 in taxes. Those things do happen. If you've made a profit, then you're liable for taxes. But be prepared for those things, and as a business owner, just make sure you are prepared for that rainy day. If you are in business and you employ people, it's very difficult for you to actually go totally broke, because what's going to happen when the funds need to be paid? What's going to happen when salaries need to be paid? You cannot afford to run your cash flow to zero. It might mean that there are things that you don't pay at a certain time, but you are basically making sure that you've got a kitty to keep the business going. It's just fundamental, and it's very important that's done. If you are in the business of buying and selling stock, you need to make sure that you've got a record of this inventory. There are systems, and these days the good thing is that these systems are now a lot more affordable. And us as Zero partners, we know a number of options that we know we can plug into Zero. And they're not expensive. It's not an arm and a leg. It's something that you can afford, and it's something that's necessary for the business. Because if you can't keep that inventory, then it's very difficult to know where things have gone wrong and at what point do we need to procure new stock. At what point do we need to pay our suppliers and so forth. So it's very important that is done. And then look, half the time we do work and people do not pay. It's just the nature of people. People don't want to pay even if they've received the service. But it is important that you keep a tab on who owes you, what are your receivables, what have you invoiced, and how long has it been out, and do you need to hire a debt collector sometimes to assist you in making sure that all your effort has been paid for. Particularly in the accounting fraternity, we come across people who they come running to you. We need this done, we need that, can we do budgets, can we do my SARS, Then when you finish that, they just disappear. Meanwhile, they owe you 27,000, 57,000. And when you follow up that money, it looks like you're a burden to them, but you've provided a service. And our service is obviously time-based, time-bound. We've wasted money, we've wasted time we've paid people to actually do your work. But when it's time for us to get paid, we find people trying just to be sneaky. So you need to be on top of that, and you need systems that make sure that if people do not pay, you've got a follow-through system that you use. And we advise that you engage lawyers, you engage debt collectors, and you must be paid for the work that you've done. It's just basic fundamental. So generally those are the accounting tips that we can give to a business owner, an entrepreneur, somebody who's starting out, and this applies to the smallest of businesses. Half the time people don't understand this, but this does apply to the smallest of businesses. Until you become a Coca-Cola, until you become a big brand. It starts small, but the basics needs to be there right from the onset. It's just how things work. Sometimes if you don't follow on those basics, you just wake up and you realize you're in more trouble than you actually thought. You owe people, you owe the government, you owe landlords, and so forth. So these are some of the things that from one entrepreneur to the other, and from an accounting perspective, my entrepreneurship is in accounting and business solutions, bookkeeping, and so forth. And from one entrepreneur to the other, these are the basic things that you need to keep in mind, because they are very, very important. They sound basic, but they are very important. And if you miss any of these, it's very likely that you're gonna miss the big picture, and that really shouldn't be the case. As a business person, as an SME, and someone who wants to get into business, what options do you have to finance your business? There are quite a number of options that exist, especially within the environment of South Africa. The basic one is that you need to put your own money in. If you have savings, that's how you finance your project. That's how you finance your business. So, and if you are financing it, it means you are putting in your own share capital into the business. So that's the one option, share capital. And share capital is basically money being put in by shareholders to a business. But sometimes that share capital is not there, and sometimes the savings are not there, and you then need to look at other options of financing your things. What are these other options? You can go to the bank. If you're in good standing, you get loans, short-term loans, medium-term loans, 5-year loans, and so forth. And those things do exist. We all know. We've looked at a lot of things that we have been financed through a financial institute or another bank or something like that. So that's the second option that you have. You also have what we call angel financing, where you can get money from your friends, from your family, from colleagues, and so forth. But we all know how difficult that space is. People generally are not willing to part with their cash for your business, especially if you don't have any profit track record to say, look, if we give this guy some money, we know that we will get our return, we will get our interest, and our money is going to come back. But it is an option to finance your business. You can go to comrades and friends, you can go to family, you can go to colleagues, and sometimes you don't come right, but that option exists. Then the fourth option is to try and get lines of credit from your suppliers, from the business associates that you're working with. If you are in the business of buying and selling products, you might want to go and sit down with the people that provide the things that you're buying and selling to the other guys, and try and open lines of credit where you procure things that you can pay after 30 days, after 60 days. And if you negotiate very well, it can go as high as 90 days, 120 days. And there are businesses who obviously they will charge you interest. Obviously they'll get a fraction of what you've borrowed, but that allows you to be in business, and that's a form of funding, right? So you have received goods that you haven't paid for, and if you sell them very well, you want to probably then have some space to breathe, whilst you are making sure that the suppliers get paid. There are also options of invoice financing. We've got financial institutions out there. If you have an invoice for something that you're selling or some work that you're going to do, there are players out there who can fund that kind of invoice. You say, look, in the next 2 months I've generated this kind of revenue and my invoice is 1.2 million. They'll probably take 20% of it, but you don't have money, and you need money to go and procure. So 20% is a payment for being advanced some cash. It's not really too bad, especially if you're starting out and you don't have the funds, you don't have the money, you don't have the cash flow. So there are options where invoices are are financed, as long as you can prove. And sometimes the guys that the financial institutions that give you that kind of money, they just want proof that you actually have a customer that exists. And in the end, that customer is not going to pay you, they will pay the financial institution, and they take away their 20% and they give you the remainder. You've been financed and you've actually progressed. And so those options also exist. You just need to look around to see who is in a position to offer you that. Then there's venture capital financing, where there are individuals, organizations that are willing to venture with you in your business, obviously for a stake in that business. And sometimes they just want to be there until that time where you can stand alone. Obviously, their money comes with interest. Obviously, you have to pay for borrowing such kind of money. But they are individuals and organizations that can venture with you, and they provide capital, obviously for a stake, for a stake in your business. And look, the list is it's quite long, but the one last bit of financing that I can discuss on is government funding. Remember, the government is there to make sure that the economy is flowing. There are a lot of programs for SMEs, there are a lot of programs for small business owners, where the government, through a criteria, they decide if you deserve to be funded or not, and they do come to the party. So it depends on what you are doing. Is there funding available in that kind of industry that you are in? Yes, there will be a long list from the government to say, look, can you comply with 1, 2, 3, 4? But we are all aware of where businesses have been funded by the government. In fact, the government is the main player in the economic activities, and they are very aware of that. So there are programs, there are different institutions that they have created for micro businesses, for SMEs, for entrepreneurs, where they avail funding for what you're doing. But obviously, that funding needs to be paid back. And generally, if you are lucky to get funding from the government, it's generally the cheapest funder around. They have better rates than the banks, they have better rates than financial institutions, and they want to promote economic development. So they're not going to stifle in a potential entrepreneur, especially if you prove yourself, you prove your worth, and you've got a project that actually makes sense, and the government will definitely come to the party. So in general terms, those are the things that those are the different options that you have to fund your business, from funding it from your own savings, government institutions, banks, venture capitalists, comrades and friends, angel financing, the very suppliers that you're buying from. Some of them, yes, they've got facilities where they can give you the products that you're looking for over a term. And you just need to be aware that those options exist, but it's a lot of work to get money from anybody, whether it's the government, the venture capitalist, your friends, and so forth. But if you score it right, definitely those are the options that exist to the SME and to the small business line.
Hi guys, thanks for watching our video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like it, share it, talk about it, let people know about it. Hit the notification button so you can be the first people to know about the next video. For any comments, any queries, please call us on the number below. Alternatively, you can use the email and we'll be ready to answer all your calls. Until next time, ciao.